She was obsessed with you once. Now she barely replies. What happened? Most men feel this shift. One moment she's chasing your attention, the next you're chasing hers. You start checking your phone, replaying every word, trying to figure out what you did wrong. But here's the hard truth. It's not about what you said. It's about what you lost: your frame, your energy, your calm authority. When a man forgets his center, he stops being the mystery she fell for. And no amount of messages, gifts, or effort can replace that energy. The moment you start seeking validation, she starts testing your strength. But here's the good news. Attraction can be rebuilt, not by chasing, but by understanding the silent codes of female psychology. By learning what triggers her emotions, what she truly craves, and how a Stoic man naturally commands respect and desire without saying a word. In this video, I'll break down the top 10 female weaknesses every man must know, and how to use them with calm confidence, not manipulation. This isn't about tricks. It's about mastering yourself so she feels your power even in your silence. Let's get into it. Number 1. The emotion she craves. Let's be honest, man. Women don't fall for words, looks, or money. They fall for how you make them feel. That's the emotion she craves. Not your logic, not your explanations. What she remembers is the way you make her heart move, not the things you say to her mind. Men bond through reason, women bond through emotion. It's their first language, and most men never learn to speak it. When she says, "You don't care about me anymore," and you respond with, "That's not true, I called you yesterday," you're missing the point. You're talking facts to a feeling. And facts don't touch the heart. What she really wants is your presence, not your schedule. Take Mark, 42, from Denver. He's a good man. Runs a small construction company, provides for his kids, and just started dating again after divorce. His girlfriend Emily, 38, told him one night, "You've been distant lately." Mark looked surprised. He said, "I've been working non-stop so we can go on that trip you wanted." To him, that was love. To her, it felt like distance. Here's what he missed. Emotional connection isn't about how much you do, it's about how much you feel with her. When she opens up, she doesn't want you to fix anything. She wants to feel that you understand, that you're steady, that you're here. Stoicism doesn't mean being cold. It means mastering your emotions instead of being ruled by them. It's the quiet strength that lets you stand firm while everything around you shakes. A Stoic man doesn't panic when she's upset. He doesn't argue or defend himself. He listens, he observes, he lets her storm without losing his center. That calm energy draws her in more powerfully than any words ever could. When Mark understood this, everything changed. The next time Emily said, "You've been distant," he didn't explain or defend. He just walked over, put his arm around her shoulder and said, "You're right. Let's just take 5 minutes. No phones, no work, just us." She smiled. The tension vanished. Why? Because he finally spoke her language. He stopped proving love through logic and started showing it through emotion. Here's the truth. Women don't need endless romance or grand gestures. They crave emotional safety, the feeling that you see them, that you're tuned in, that they can trust your calm. When she senses that her guard drops, she stops testing and starts relaxing into your presence. That's when attraction deepens naturally. You don't need to perform love. You just need to become love in stillness. When you meet emotion with grounded understanding, you stop reacting and start leading. You become the man she can't forget, because in a world full of noise, you're the peace she never knew she needed. And the more grounded you are, the more emotional she becomes for you, because she finally feels safe to feel. Now say this out loud and write it in the comments. I lead with calm. Let that be your reminder. Emotion doesn't control you, you command it. Stay with me, because what comes next will challenge everything you've been taught about what truly keeps her drawn to you. And once you see it, you won't unsee it. Number 2, The power of your attention. Every woman feels when a man's attention drifts. You don't have to say a word, she senses it immediately. Your tone changes. Your energy shifts. The warmth fades from your eyes and she feels that space grow between you like a quiet storm. What most men don't realize is that your attention is her oxygen. It's how she feels seen, desired, and alive in the connection. But here's the trap. Most men either give too much or too little. They drown her with attention when they feel insecure, then pull it away completely when they're hurt. Both destroy attraction. Flooding her with constant reassurance kills the mystery. Starving her of presence makes her question your care. The power lies in balance, the kind that comes from conscious awareness, not emotional reaction. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The same truth applies here. The Stoic man doesn't scatter his focus everywhere, nor does he cling to her validation. He gives his attention with intention. When he's with her, he's fully there, his eyes, his voice, his stillness. But when he's apart, he's not anxious waiting for a message or a sign. He remains centered in his mission. That's what separates presence from neediness. Attention, when grounded in purpose, becomes magnetic. When a man looks at a woman with genuine curiosity, not hunger, with calm strength, not expectation, she feels safe yet intrigued. She feels him watching not to control her but to understand her. That's the kind of gaze that melts armor, because it speaks a language older than words. You see, women test attention the same way men test respect. They'll pull away slightly, just to feel whether you'll chase or stay composed. A reactive man chases. A stoic man holds the frame. He understands that attention loses value when it's given without awareness. So he doesn't throw it away for validation. He offers it as a gift, focused, brief, deliberate. That's why his presence lingers long after he's gone. Think about it. The moments that stay with her aren't the long talks or constant texting. It's that one moment when you really looked at her, quiet, steady, without words. She felt seen, not analyzed, desired, not studied. That's what feminine psychology is built on: emotional recognition. It's not about attention for attention's sake. It's about her feeling, the strength behind it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your attention works the same way. Whatever you focus on, you color with your energy. When your mind is scattered, your presence weakens. When your attention is disciplined, your energy becomes sharp, defined, irresistible. So here's the truth. Most men never hear attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Give it from a full cup, not an empty one. Don't let her feel like she's your only focus. Let her feel that when she does have your focus, nothing else exists. That contrast is what keeps her drawn to you. Your attention, when pure and calm, communicates power. When it's desperate, it communicates fear. She feels the difference instantly. So learn to master your gaze, your silence, your time. Let her earn your awareness, not demand it. Now take a second and write this in the comments. I choose my focus. That's not just a statement, it's a mindset. Because where your attention goes, your power follows. And stay with me, because what comes next will reveal something about attraction that most men sense but can never quite explain. And once you understand it, everything changes. Number 3. Her fear of losing you. Every man has felt it the moment she starts pulling away, testing your reaction, trying to see if you'll chase. Most men panic right there. They start calling more, explaining more, doing whatever it takes to hold her attention. But here's the irony. The more you try to prove your value, the less valuable you appear. Because deep down, every woman carries a quiet fear of losing a strong man's presence. When you chase, you erase that fear. When you stay composed, you awaken it. Let's look at it through a real story. David is 45, a financial advisor from Austin. He's been seeing Laura, 41, for about 6 months. Things were good at first, texting every day, weekend, dinners, a natural connection. But then Laura started pulling back. She took longer to reply, cancelled plans once or twice, and said she needed some space. David, like most men, panicked. He sent long messages explaining how much he cared, how he didn't want to lose her. He thought honesty would fix it. It didn't. She went colder. Here's why. Her request for space wasn't a real desire for distance. It was a subconscious test. She wanted to feel whether David's world would collapse without her. When he started chasing, she got her answer. He'd already lost balance. A Stoic man would have seen it differently. He would have understood that a woman's fear of losing you isn't something to manage, it's something to allow. Because that fear keeps attraction alive. When she realizes your happiness doesn't depend on her, she feels both safe and intrigued. Safe because you're emotionally stable. Intrigued because you're not predictable. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That mastery is exactly what she's unconsciously searching for when she tests you. She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to feel your strength. When she sees that you can stay calm while she pulls back, she knows you're not ruled by need. You're ruled by purpose. Let's go back to David. After a week of silence, he decided to stop explaining and start living. He focused on his training, his work, his friends. He didn't post quotes about heartbreak or try to make her jealous. He just lived well, quietly. A few days later, Laura texted him, "Hey stranger, that's how it always happens. When the emotional equilibrium returns, curiosity replaces control." Her mind starts replaying memories, wondering if she mattered as much as she thought, and that uncertainty draws her closer again. This is the paradox of attraction. The moment you stop trying to keep her, she starts fearing she might lose you. It's not a game, it's balance. Your distance gives her space to feel her own emotions. Your calm creates the contrast that reignites her desire. When you hold your ground, you remind her why she was drawn to you in the first place. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Her reactions are outside events. Your calm is the power. Don't use silence to punish her. Use it to protect your peace. Because your peace is what she truly craves when everything else feels unstable. So next time you feel that pull of fear, that temptation to chase or explain, remember this: the man who can walk away calmly is the man who never really loses anything. Now write this in the comments to anchor it in your mind. I stay unshaken. That's your declaration of strength, your reminder that presence speaks louder than pursuit. And stay with me, because the next truth we're about to uncover flips the entire idea of attraction upside down, and once you hear it, you'll never play the same game again. Number 4. Security turns her on. Most men think attraction is all about chemistry, looks, or words. But for a woman, nothing is more arousing than emotional security. Not money, not status. Security. The kind of energy that says, "I've got this," even when life feels uncertain. That energy is rare, and every woman can feel it the moment you walk into a room. Here's the truth. Most men miss women don't crave perfection, they crave consistency. A man who keeps his word. A man who doesn't flinch when plans change. A man who stays grounded when she's emotional. That's the essence of security. It's not about control, it's about stability. Because when you're stable, she can finally relax. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free." And that's what security really is, freedom. When a woman feels secure with you, she's free to be soft, to open up, to trust. But if she senses you're reactive, uncertain, or easily shaken, she can't surrender to the moment. Her instincts tell her something is off, and attraction fades. Think about it this way. The modern world tells men to chase, to impress, to perform. But a Stoic man doesn't perform, he leads quietly. His security isn't loud, it's felt. He knows who he is, what he stands for, and what he will not tolerate. That sense of certainty is magnetic. It communicates that you don't need her approval to feel whole. And paradoxically, that's what makes her feel safe with you. Emotional security is the foundation of desire. It's the space where passion can actually breathe. When she doesn't have to worry about whether you'll change with every mood or challenge her body and mind, start to trust you. Trust is the doorway to attraction. You become the calm center in her chaos, the man who doesn't need to shout to be heard. The Stoics called this state apatheia, not the absence of feeling, but freedom from being ruled by feeling. When you reach that point, you don't need to prove strength through dominance. Your composure speaks for you. You can sit in silence with her, and she'll still feel your presence. You can disagree with her, and she'll still feel respected. Because your security isn't dependent on agreement, it's anchored in self-respect. You've probably seen this play out. When a man is grounded, his energy changes everything around him. Conversations flow easier, conflicts don't spiral. Even silence feels warm instead of cold. That's what turns her on. It's not aggression, it's assurance. Not dominance, but direction. Here's something to remember. Women aren't attracted to men who promise security. They're drawn to men who embody it. The way you breathe, the way you pause before speaking, the way you handle small frustrations, all of that tells her whether you're stable or shaken. So focus less on convincing and more on becoming, because true security can't be performed. It's earned through discipline, self-control, and purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." That's your reminder. The security she seeks is already inside you. It just needs to be activated, not announced. Now take a moment and write this in the comments to lock it in. I am her calm. Say it and mean it. Let it be a declaration of the kind of man you are becoming, one who leads through steadiness, not noise. And if you're ready to go deeper, to train your mind and energy to lead with that kind of grounded power every day, join our private Stoic Brotherhood. It's a members-only circle where men like you build discipline, presence, and quiet confidence that transforms every relationship. The link is below. Stay tuned, because the next truth we're about to uncover reveals something most men misunderstand about attraction, and it's the reason so many lose it without realizing why. Once you hear it, you'll see everything differently. Number 5. Silence makes her obsess. Silence is one of the most misunderstood powers a man can use. Most men fear it. They think silence means weakness, indifference, or losing control. But to a woman, a man's silence, when it comes from confidence, not anger, is magnetic. It gives her mind room to wonder, to question, to imagine. And that imagination, my friend, is where obsession begins. Let's talk about why this works. When you go silent, you create uncertainty. You give her brain a puzzle to solve. And women, especially emotionally intelligent, intuitive women, can't leave puzzles alone. They'll replay the last moment, the last message, the last look you gave them. They'll analyze it, twist it, and replay it again. Silence becomes the soundtrack of their curiosity. But here's the key. Your silence has to come from power, not from pettiness. You're not ignoring her to manipulate her. You're giving space to restore balance. When you stop chasing, when you stop explaining, you shift the frame of energy. She starts to feel the gap that your presence used to fill, and that's what pulls her back in. Take Jason, 46, from Chicago. He'd been seeing Natalie, 43, for a few months. Things were good until one day she started acting distant, short replies, cancelled plans, the classic emotional retreat. Jason's first instinct was to fix it. He drafted a long text about how much he cared and how he didn't want to lose what they had. But this time he caught himself. He remembered that every time he tried to talk her out of her silence, she withdrew even more. So instead he chose calm. For 3 days he didn't reach out. No texts, no stories, no reactions online. Just quiet, focus on his life. And on the fourth day, Natalie texted him first. "Hey, haven't heard from you. You okay?" That's the moment most men miss. His silence didn't push her away, it pulled her curiosity forward. Epictetus once said, "If you wish to be loved, love yourself first." And that's the hidden message behind silence. When you stop chasing noise, you tell the world you value your own peace more than attention. That self-respect radiates in a way words never can. Silence also reveals truth. When you step back, you see who reaches forward. The ones who value your energy will come closer. The ones who don't were never truly connected. Either way, you win. That's the beauty of controlled detachment. It filters without effort. But silence doesn't mean stone-cold withdrawal. It means strategic distance. You're not punishing her. You're protecting your energy. You're letting her emotional rhythm reset while you hold your frame. A Stoic man understands timing. He knows when to speak, when to listen, and when to let silence speak louder than both. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned from the many sufferings of life." That's wisdom carved from experience. Every man who's ever over-explained, over-apologized, or over-pursued knows this truth. The moment you stop fighting for attention, you start earning respect. So remember, this silence only works when it's rooted in strength. If you're quiet because you're scared, she feels avoidance. But if you're quiet because you're centered, she feels gravity. Women can sense the difference instantly. One repels, the other attracts. When your silence comes from peace, it becomes power. It gives her mind space to miss you, and her heart space to want you again. And that's not manipulation, it's natural polarity. You stop chasing, and she starts remembering. Now write this in the comments to lock it in your mind. I speak through silence. Let it remind you that real power doesn't shout, it listens, it waits, it stands firm. And stay here, because what's coming next will open your eyes to a deeper layer of attraction, one that most men never recognize until it's too late. Number 6. The sweet taste of validation. Every woman craves validation. It's wired into her emotional chemistry. The need to be seen, appreciated, and reassured isn't vanity, it's connection. But here's where most men go wrong. They either give too much, drowning her in constant approval, or they give none, thinking it makes them look strong. Both extremes destroy attraction. The real power lies in balance, the kind of validation that feels earned, not handed out. When a woman feels genuinely seen, she softens. Her guard drops, her tone changes, and she begins to trust your energy. But when she feels you're praising her to keep her, she starts questioning the authenticity behind every word. That's when compliments turn to noise, and what once attracted her begins to push her away. Seneca once said, "He who seeks to please all men loses himself." The same principle applies here. When you validate a woman to keep peace or to avoid losing her, you lose your own grounding. Validation should come from awareness, not fear. You recognize her beauty, her effort, her presence, but you never offer it as currency for attention. Women can feel when validation is pure and when it's performance. A calm, grounded man gives recognition with intention. He notices, he appreciates, and then he moves forward without seeking anything in return. His validation carries weight because it's rare. It's not a tool to impress her. It's a reflection of his self-assuredness. Think about it. When you tell a woman, "You look incredible tonight," and then go back to your conversation, it hits differently than if you hover waiting for her reaction. The first version is masculine energy, appreciative, clear, unbothered. The second is validation-seeking energy, an emotional gamble for approval. And the moment you start playing that game, you hand her the frame. True Stoic composure isn't about withholding appreciation. It's about mastering when and how to give it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In the same way, waste no more energy trying to prove your worth through validation. Simply be the man who knows his value, and she'll feel it every time you speak. Validation, when done right, creates polarity. When you acknowledge her in moments she doesn't expect it, it hits her deeper. For example, recognizing her strength after a tough day says more than 100 "you're beautifuls." It speaks to her soul, not just her ego. That's the validation that sticks, the kind that makes her replay your words in her mind when you're not around. But here's the paradox. The more you need her to validate you, the less she'll respect your validation of her. When your self-worth depends on how she reacts, you become predictable, and predictability kills attraction. A Stoic man validates from abundance. His words are calm, deliberate, and few, but each one lands with purpose because he doesn't use them to fill silence. He uses them to convey truth. Validation should remind her, not reassure her. It should remind her why she's drawn to you, not reassure her that you're afraid to lose her. When you embody that distinction, your presence becomes her approval. You no longer need to tell her she's wanted. She feels it in your steadiness, your tone, your calm attention. Remember, the sweetest validation isn't spoken, it's felt. The way you look at her after she's done talking, the way you listen without rushing to respond, the way you keep your composure when she tests your patience. That's the kind of validation that lingers, the kind that builds trust and desire in equal measure. Now take a moment and write this in the comments to lock it in. I validate with strength. Let that remind you that real appreciation never comes from need, it comes from power. Stay with me, because the next truth we're stepping into uncovers a side of female psychology that most men misread completely. And when you see it clearly, every interaction starts to shift in your favor. Number 7. Lead without blame. Every man hits that moment when tension fills the room. The conversation turns sharp, words lose meaning, and silence turns heavy. You can feel her emotions rise, and before you know it, you're defending yourself instead of leading. Most men don't realize that in moments like this, leadership isn't about control, it's about composure. A man who leads without blame doesn't fight to win. He guides the moment back to peace. Let's talk about Robert, 50, from Seattle. He's been with Melissa, 47, for 5 years. They have what looks like a stable relationship, shared history, mutual respect, but lately, small things have turned into arguments. One night, Melissa said, "You've been cold lately. You don't care anymore." Robert snapped, "Cold? I'm the one paying the bills and showing up every day." That's what most men do. They hear emotion and respond with logic. They mistake defense for leadership. When you defend, you shift focus from understanding to justification. You may win the point, but you lose her trust. What she really wants to feel is your steadiness, your calm. She's not testing your facts, she's testing your frame. And the moment you blame or raise your voice, you fail that test. After that argument, Robert decided to change. The next time tension rose, he paused. He took a breath and said, "I get why you feel that way. I haven't been present, and that's on me." Notice what happened there. No excuses, no blame, just awareness. The energy shifted instantly. Melissa didn't want an apology. She wanted presence. That's what it means to lead without blame. You take responsibility for your tone, your energy, your reaction, but you don't take ownership of someone else's emotions. A Stoic man knows his limits. He can say, "I understand you're upset," without saying, "I'm the reason you're upset." That's balance. That's mastery. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you react, you hand over your freedom. When you stay calm, you remain in command. That doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you set the emotional tone instead of following hers. The power of a Stoic man lies in his restraint, not his rebuttal. Here's what most men never learn: leadership is silent influence. You don't have to fix every disagreement or force every outcome. You simply stay centered, and people, especially women, mirror your energy. When you're calm, they soften. When you're grounded, they trust. Robert noticed the change. The next time Melissa got emotional, he didn't interrupt or defend. He listened, nodded, and said calmly, "I hear you." That small moment of control rebuilt what months of arguing had broken. She didn't need him to agree. She needed to feel safe in his presence. That's real leadership, its strength wrapped in empathy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That truth applies to every relationship. You can't control her tone, her timing, or her emotions, but you can control your response. And when you do, everything around you starts to follow your lead. So remember this, leadership doesn't mean domination, it means direction. The man who leads without blame doesn't react to chaos. He restores order. He doesn't take everything personally. He transforms it into progress. That's what separates a calm man from a common man. Write this in the comments right now. I lead, not react. Let it remind you that real strength starts where blame ends. Stick with me. What's coming next uncovers a hidden truth about attraction that will shift the way you think about power, control, and connection forever. Number 8. Stay a mystery. Every man wants to be understood, but the moment you become predictable, you lose the spark. Mystery is not about hiding, it's about holding something back. It's about keeping a quiet part of yourself that the world doesn't get full access to. And when it comes to attraction, that mystery is magnetic. It draws her curiosity, keeps her imagination alive, and makes her feel like there's always more to discover. Most men overexpose themselves too soon. They share every thought, every plan, every emotion, thinking transparency equals intimacy. But what really happens is simple. They remove all tension, and without tension there's no excitement. A woman's mind is wired for curiosity. She's drawn to discovery, not certainty. When she knows everything about you, there's nothing left to chase. Being mysterious isn't about playing games, it's about managing access. You can be warm, open, and kind, yet still hold a layer of privacy that belongs only to you. When she asks a personal question, you can answer with calm restraint instead of full disclosure. When she presses for emotional reactions, you can smile and stay grounded instead of spilling every feeling. That self-control creates depth. She starts to wonder, what's he thinking? What's behind that calm? And that wondering keeps her engaged. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The Stoic man doesn't announce his values or intentions, he lives them. His life speaks louder than his explanations, and that's exactly why he feels mysterious. He doesn't need to explain what he's doing or why he's doing it. His actions show it. In today's world, where everyone overshares, online mystery has become rare and rare. Things are valuable. A man who doesn't broadcast his every move stands out immediately. He's not cold, he's composed. He's not detached, he's disciplined. When a woman feels that energy, she doesn't interpret it as distance. She reads it as confidence. And confidence, when paired with restraint, becomes deeply attractive. Here's the psychological truth: the human mind is wired to chase closure. When you give her just enough to stay intrigued, but not enough to fully understand you, she starts filling in the blanks herself. And the version she creates in her mind is often more powerful than anything you could ever explain. That's why silence, pauses, and mystery carry more weight than long conversations or constant attention. But staying a mystery isn't about manipulation, it's about mastery. It's the art of being fully present while remaining slightly out of reach. You listen deeply but speak selectively. You express emotion without flooding the moment. You share truth, not every detail. This balance keeps your presence magnetic instead of overwhelming. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." That's exactly what makes mystery so potent. When you pull back, her imagination takes over. She starts missing you before you're even gone. She starts thinking about what you might be doing, who you might be with what you might be thinking. And that mental replay creates emotional attachment stronger than any words could. Here's the key: mystery dies when you try to prove yourself. The man who constantly explains his worth or defends his choices becomes predictable. The man who moves with quiet certainty remains unforgettable. So, stop trying to be fully known. Be fully present instead. Let her feel your energy more than she hears your stories. That's how a man becomes unforgettable, not by speaking more, but by revealing less. Now write this in the comments to remind yourself, I move in silence. Let it be your declaration that mystery isn't about hiding, it's about mastering your presence. Stay tuned, because the next insight takes this idea of control and turns it inward, revealing how the rarest kind of power has nothing to do with what you say and everything to do with what you feel. Number 9. Calm is masculine. When everything around you feels chaotic, your calm is what defines you. That's the moment when real masculinity shows up, not in your muscles, your voice, or your money, but in your composure. Calm isn't weakness, it's control. It's the quiet strength that makes people, especially women, feel safe around you. Most men mistake aggression for strength. They raise their voices, argue harder, or try to dominate the moment. But control without calm is just noise. True masculine energy is steady, measured, and grounded. It doesn't chase, it doesn't panic, and it doesn't react. It leads. Let's take a real example. Michael, 53, from Phoenix, is dating Rachel, 49. She's emotional, passionate, and expressive. She feels deeply and speaks fast. He's logical, patient, but lately her intensity has been testing him. One night, Rachel got frustrated and said, "You never care enough. You just sit there." Michael felt that heat rise inside him. His instinct wanted to fight back, to defend himself. But instead, he paused. He took a slow breath, met her eyes, and said, "I'm here. I hear you." That moment changed everything. The anger in her voice softened. The storm passed in seconds. Why? Because calm energy disarms emotional energy. When a man stays composed under emotional fire, it makes a woman feel subconsciously safe. She feels protected, not because he's stronger physically, but because he's stronger emotionally. Epictetus said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." And that's exactly what happens when you lose your calm. You hand over your power. Every time you react impulsively, you tell the world you're controlled by emotion. Every time you stay calm, you remind the world that you control yourself. Masculine calm isn't silence, it's certainty. It's the energy that says, "I've got this," even when things look messy. It's knowing that not every problem needs a response, not every word deserves a reaction, and not every silence has to be filled. Calmness isn't about doing nothing, it's about choosing your moment with precision. When you stay calm, you also model strength for the people around you. Your tone slows down, your words carry more weight, your presence becomes magnetic. Rachel later told Michael, "When you didn't yell back, it made me feel grounded." That's what women mean when they say he's different. Calm feels different. It's rare, and rarity is power. The world today rewards loudness. Everyone's trying to be heard. But a man who can stay silent when others shout, who can listen when others argue, becomes a leader without ever announcing it. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Control your inner world, and the outer world starts to follow your rhythm. So the next time you feel that familiar pull, the rising tension, the urge to react, remember, every second you hold your calm, you reclaim your authority. You remind her and yourself that peace isn't passive, it's power. Calm doesn't mean emotionless. It means emotionally intelligent. It means you can feel everything without letting it rule you. And that kind of strength doesn't just attract women, it inspires respect from everyone. Write this in the comments to lock it in. I stay grounded. Let it remind you that calm isn't what you do after things go wrong, it's what keeps things from falling apart in the first place. Let's keep going. The final truth will bring everything together and show you how all these principles work in harmony to create something unshakable a man no chaos can move. Number 10. Detachment makes her chase. Most men hear the word detachment and think it means coldness, silence, or walking away. But real detachment isn't about cutting her off, it's about cutting the need off. It's about being emotionally centered enough that you can love someone without depending on their response. That's where your true power begins. See, the moment you start attaching your happiness to her attention, you lose your frame. You stop leading. You start reacting. Every text, every tone, every silence becomes a test of your worth. And when you need someone that much, they feel it and pull away. Attraction doesn't live in need. It lives in choice. Detachment flips the dynamic. When you stop trying to control outcomes, she starts feeling your energy shift. You become unpredictable again. Your focus returns to your life, your mission, your peace. You stop chasing her energy and start protecting your own. And that's when she starts thinking about you. That's when she feels the gap and wonders, did he stop caring? Let's look at how this plays out. Imagine a man in his 40s, steady, successful, emotionally intelligent. He's dating a woman he likes, but lately she's been distant. In the past, he might have sent long texts or tried to fix things. But this time, he simply steps back, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. He goes to the gym, focuses on work, meets friends, sleeps better. A week later, she texts him first. Why? Because his energy shifted. She feels the loss of his attention. The silence makes her curious. The absence makes her remember his presence. This is how detachment works. It creates space for desire to breathe again. It's not punishment, it's polarity. When you pull back, she's forced to lean forward. That's human psychology. What's freely available is taken for granted. What feels scarce becomes valuable. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That's detachment. You stop giving your peace away to things or people you can't control. You don't stop caring, you stop clinging. And that small difference changes everything. Detachment doesn't make you heartless, it makes you powerful. You can love deeply without losing yourself. You can stay loyal without being desperate. You can be fully present without being fully dependent. When she feels that balance, she starts chasing not because she's manipulated, but because she feels drawn to your stability. The paradox of attraction is this: the less you need her, the more she needs to understand you. The more you focus on yourself, the more she wants to be part of your world. Detachment isn't about ignoring her, it's about mastering yourself so completely that she never has to wonder if you can handle life without her. So the next time you feel that urge to prove, to chase, to over-explain, pause. Let silence do the work. Let space rebuild the polarity. A Stoic man doesn't seek validation through control. He earns desire through peace. Write this in the comments to lock it in. I release to attract. Let that be your reminder that real love flows toward freedom, not fear. That's it, brother. Today we broke down the 10 emotional triggers that shape attraction and how a calm, grounded Stoic man can lead through every one of them. You've learned how to stay composed, how to create space, how to draw her in without losing yourself. Remember, it's not about control, it's about presence. When you master yourself, everything else starts to follow your lead. If you're ready to go deeper, join the Stoic Brotherhood, our private community, where men like you train to build unshakable confidence, discipline, and quiet strength that transforms every part of life. You'll find the link below. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.